Hey. Time for another Out of This World story from our space. Sometimes people will do whatever they can to get under our skin, but how far are they actually willing to go? Today on our space, OP's cheating wife tries to ruin something good by not letting sleeping dogs lie. Sometimes people can't help themselves. Caught my wife cheating with her secret affair partner, so I completely destroyed their lives. It all happened some time ago. I was advised by a dear friend of mine to share the story of my divorce on here. Sorry if I text funny, it's my first time here. I'm 37 male, and my wife is 31 female. It all started a few years ago. I believe we were happy. We were your average suburban couple. Although having been together for a very long time now, I never anticipated this. We didn't have many problems in our marriage. Even before we got married, we had a fairly open relationship without any issues or hiccups. We were financially secure. A healthy sex life. We loved and respected each other. We have 2 kids, 16 female and a 9-year-old. I thought we had a healthy social life. We were going through one of your typical married couple's rough patches. We both were working long hours and not spending enough time together, and it was affecting our marriage. Also was the fact that I noticed that she was spending a lot more time on her phone texting with her girlfriends. I didn't think much of it until she started to become super protective about her phone and even started acting cold towards the kids and me. All these were red flags, which I didn't like, so I started to make a much more concerted effort to get out of work when I could, help around the house, spend some time with her, and be more emotionally available. But over the course of a few weeks, the gulf just kept getting wider. She seemed even more detached. I discovered the affair on the night of our son's 8th birthday. We had everyone over, family, friends, and even colleagues. It was a full house. Her parents were there too. We were all having fun when it was time for my son to blow out the candles. She gave me her phone to take a picture of her, my son, her friends, and her parents. Just as I steadied myself for the photo, a text message popped up. It read, "I love you very much, baby. I miss you." I don't know how long I froze, but it must have been more than a minute. "I miss you?" My ex-wife's voice brings me back to reality. I smiled and took the photo. I commend myself for how I acted that night. I kept calm and smiled, but my mind raced. The number wasn't even saved on her phone, so I had no way of knowing who it was my ex was cheating on me with, how long the affair had gone. Was she sleeping with him? I mean, of course they were. Later that night, after we were done cleaning up, I put the kids to bed and went to bed. She was fast asleep. The party had worn her out. I snuck her phone from under her pillow and went to the bathroom. I checked her emails and her texts, everything. I tried her messenger, but I didn't know the password. I couldn't find the number, and she deleted the text. She was careful. No wonder I hadn't noticed it. I went back to bed, angry and frustrated. Staring at that woman I had been loyal to for years, I swore I would get to the bottom. Some days later, I came home early to spend some time with the kids. She was out grocery shopping. I decided to charge the kids' phone. It's her old tablet phone we left for the kids in case of emergencies. My 8-year-old son uses it to watch Sid the Science Kid. As I charged, I decided to take a look, where I accidentally discovered that her messenger, Facebook, was still logged in. I entered and I found a lot of sex messages between my wife and a guy named Lewis. There were a lot of inappropriate texts and even nude photos of my wife and of him. It was all overwhelming to read. He worked in a bank and apparently they were in love with each other. She told him she didn't love me anymore and how I was terrible in the sack and how no one could make her climax as he, Lewis, did. She even planned to leave me and get married to him. All my flaws, insecurities, and secrets I trusted to my partner, she used to mock me. It was painful to read. From how long the text spanned, the affair must have been going on for 2 years. 2 years! I was almost in tears. I managed to take some screenshots, thinking of how to confront my wife when she got back. Just then, a text message came in from Crabhead. It said, "Hey babe, are we still down for the weekend?" As the next day, my ex replied, "Yeah, honey." Crabhead went on to remind her of the name of the hotel and room number he'd be staying at. Such an idiot. It was music to my ears. I decided to confront her there and humiliate them both. I knew where they would be and what room they'd be staying in. All I needed to do was stage the perfect surprise. I was worried about my kids and the new life that was about to come. She came home from the supermarket. I could hardly look her in the eye, and I didn't want to give myself away. So I went out. I consulted a lawyer, got my options, had a few drinks, and started laying out my plan. Sure as hell, the next day, the wife is buttering me up. She says she wants to take a spa weekend with the girls to relax, and when she returns, she wants us to go on vacation, reconnect with ourselves, and focus on our marriage. I go with it all the way. I tell her for sure, of course, it's the most incredible idea she's ever had, and I'll do anything to get us back on track. I spoke with the attorney and asked him to draft a strong separation agreement stating her move-out deadline, weekend visitation rights, and the absence of child support until the divorce is final. She didn't know what was coming. She gets ready, leaves and kisses me goodbye, and says she loves me. I tell her have fun. Immediately she's gone. I I go to the bank, close our joint and money market account, and collect a cashier's check for her share, depositing my half into my new account. I stop back at the house. In my office, I printed about 35 pages of Facebook screenshots. I kill time a little because I want her and Craphead to get comfortable before I arrive. So I ring up her parents too. I tell them that I would love for them to accompany me to a surprise. They are worried at first and want to know what the surprise is, but I calm them down and talk them into coming. I was also able to contact Lewis's wife through his Facebook, and she wasn't that hard to find. I tried calling at first, but there was no answer. So I drove down to her address, and I explained to her what was going on. She broke down at first, but she agreed to come. We got to the hotel at about 12:30. Her parents had gotten there. First, we go straight up to their room. Her parents are still confused. They're asking if everything is all right, and where was my wife. They have no idea what's going on or who Lewis's wife is. I calmed them. We got to their room. I knocked and said I was the hotel's manager and that I would like to speak with Lewis. The door opens, and out comes Craphead, tying only a towel. I can't forget the look on his face. He goes white. He tries to talk when his wife strikes him hard on the face and walks off. He goes after her. Then I hear my wife call from inside. She asks, "Who is it, babe?" I go in with her parents to find my wife only a towel on. She turns white as she sees us. She starts to cry, and her mother joins in. I guess she's supposed to be her parents' golden child. She starts spewing crap, saying it's not what it seems, etc. I tell her I'm not here to argue. I hand the divorce papers to her, and I also give her the printed out texts. I told her I was emailing to everyone we knew, and I would hand it to our daughter so she would see the monster her mother was. She broke down. I knew she'd be worried about her professional image and her image before her kids. I gave her the check for half of the money market account, and I told her I'd withdrawn my half of the money from all of the other joint accounts. It was enough to get a place of hers. She started to cry some more. Her parents were silent, and in tears. They went to stand in the lobby. I could almost see the different thoughts and waves of emotions going through her. She asked why I would do this to her, but we both knew she brought this on herself. I tell her I expect her to sign the papers and leave them at the house when she comes to get her stuff. I started to leave. I told her she could continue to have fun with Lewis. I leave and apologize to her parents. I'm really sorry they had to see this. They understand and advise that we both see a marriage counselor before any decision is made, but my mind is made up. On my way out, I pass Lewis and his wife having a fit downstairs. I smile a little. Serves the bastard right. We both exchange a few heated words. He asks if I'm happy, and I scream yes. I got in my car. I started to cry, but I managed to get my crap together enough to drive off. I have no idea what she did that evening or over the weekend, but she repeatedly texted and called me, asking to talk. I turned off the phone. She came on Monday to have a talk with the kids, basically saying, "Mommy and Daddy need some time apart. We still love you, etc., etc." She then apologized some more and said she wanted her family back, but she didn't know what she was doing, etc. I have no intention of ever taking her back. She betrayed me. I also got a call later from Mrs. Lewis. She thanked me for coming to her, etc., etc., and we're very good friends now. She also filed for divorce. I like her. We went to court, and I think the judge felt sorry for me. He asked for statements from the kids and who they wanted to stay with. They both chose to stay with Dad in the house they grew up in. My ex cried. When the divorce was finalized, I got the house and had to buy out some of her equity, which wasn't much of a problem. I also got primary custody of the kids. The kids are happy and doing fine. She still calls saying we should get back together, but that is never going to happen. Crap, OP. Good on you. I'm sorry this all went down. And the way you found out, that's rough. But for 2 years? And to say she didn't know what she was doing. Of course she knew what she was doing. She knew exactly what she was doing. I feel like she would have totally taken you for all you had if you hadn't brought her parents or the guy's wife. That was such a bold yet powerful move. You totally needed to do that in order to protect yourself and your kids. I have a feeling she totally would have cried crocodile tears if you hadn't done that. She knew she was done. Update. Hi. I thought I'd give an update since a lot of people have been personally messaging me asking for one. Thank you to everyone who reached out to me after my first post. It's been some months since the divorce. I'm doing fine and settled in nicely with the kids. The atmosphere around the house has been weird to say the least. The living room has turned into a desert island that no one frequents as we all spent the majority of our time there as a family. Even the kids seem to avoid it too. I've also intentionally been working late a lot, so I don't have to think about too much of it. I've been completely ignoring her, but after reading about the 180, I have started implementing that and been civil, if a little cold, towards her. I'm so glad I did this, as I was beginning to feel like a monster refusing to acknowledge her existence and everything I did. It was not the right way to behave, and I ended up feeling like the one who had wronged her rather than the other way around. The only time I broke from the 180 was when I walked into the bathroom last weekend. She was over to see the kids, and I found her sitting on the floor by the bath crying. I helped her up and instinctively gave her a hug, though it was more of a there type hug than one with much love attached to it. The sad thing is that I'm so suspicious of her now that I wouldn't put it past her to be waiting on me coming in so she could put on a performance. I'm completely over my ex, though. She comes over to see the kids occasionally. She's been crowing about how she'll do anything and everything to save this marriage, anything to prove to me that it was just a silly mistake. She looks terrible. She lost her job and looks really awful. I'm sure she'd say anything to get out of her current life. Her boss found out about our divorce, and after hearing the story, she was displeased. So she fired her. I heard she and Lewis decided to stick together for a while. I guess she was trying to make me jealous or something. It doesn't even matter anyway. I meant what I said in my OP. Every morsel of love I had for her dissipated into the atmosphere after I read her say those horrible things. I don't see her as my true love anymore, the person I could tell anything to and would trust with my life. I just see trash, the trash that needs to be taken out before it stinks the place up. She tried to get me to come to a compromise, saying that in 3 or 4 months, we can look at it again and see where we are mentally, and is pushing me to try couples counseling before I completely throw in the towel. I'm not doing that. The thought of being in the same house with my wife over Christmas makes me feel ill. She'll want to do it right. No way. Her friends tell me everything that goes on with her. They're on my side now. It turned out really bad for Lewis. He went down hard in his divorce, and he lost his kid in their house. He kept showing up at my house some days after his divorce. He looked a total mess, like a guy who had lost everything. He called me out and said I should face him, and I cost him his life. I laughed at him. He was sad. He lost his job after the confrontation. His wife went to his bosses and told them everything. They were displeased. She also shared the printout of all their messages among his colleagues, so they fired his butt. I called the cops and was able to get a restraining order against him. My wife and Lewis live together. I heard he doesn't treat her well. He blames her for everything, and she looks pale. And she has no friends. Sometimes I feel sorry for her. I let her stay overnight sometimes, but I'm always careful with her. I've been seeing other people, and currently, I'm going out with this very nice lady. We met at my party. My friends decided to throw me a party to cheer me up after the divorce. I was diagnosed with depression, and she's the breath of fresh air I needed. She won't be named, but we've been going out for 2 months, and she's excellent with the kids. I asked her to move in. My ex is not happy, and she still has dreams of us being a family again. She still begs me to take her back, but as I said, it's not happening again. She thinks she'll have me whatever it takes. Some weeks later, I got a call from the attorney's office. He said my wife was trying to file a petition to reopen the case as new information concerning the case was reviewed. I asked, what new information? He says, your wife claims she's pregnant from you. I'm confused. It's not possible. That lying snake? Clearly, it's not mine. We hadn't been close even before the divorce. I tell my friends about it, and they say, don't worry, it's just a pathetic way of trying to get back. How could getting pregnant help? It was clearly for Lewis, who she was staying with. The lawyer told me not to worry, and that she would have to take a paternity test to prove I was the father. I honestly feel concerned for her mental health. She should see a psychologist. She's over the next day, telling my girlfriend she was pregnant with my child and how she's the mother of my kids. I kick her out and tell her that if she wants to see her kids, they'll come over to her place, and she should never return. She screams and yells. She refuses to get a paternity test, but goes on to tell everyone who would listen that the child belongs to me, and I did all this to get rid of her and take in a new wife. Some weeks pass, and then Lewis's wife calls me and says she's getting back with him. She says she still loves him, and he had suffered enough. She says he'd be moving in with her soon. I tell her about my ex and their baby, and she says they'll work it out. Craphead Lewis didn't hesitate. He left my ex and moved back home, leaving her alone and pregnant. I feel sorry for all her suffering, but she really did bring this all on herself. I'm thinking of getting married to my new girlfriend, moving away from this house, and just starting a new life. Yikes. Yeah, she's totally lost it, and she's really reaching for whatever she can so that she can get under your skin and get a reaction from you. Since you've moved on and your life is going pretty smoothly compared to hers, she needs to see you sweat a little bit so that she can feel better about herself. I don't think you should feel sorry for her, though. She didn't feel sorry for you when someone else was knee-deep in her. What do you think? Should OP feel sorry for his ex? Did he do the right thing? And thank you for joining us today on Our Space. Like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. We'd hate for you to miss out. If you want to listen to more stories from me, check out our lounge where I feature a larger variety of non-cheating related stories. See you there.